Ladies and gentlemen, there's something powerful about a person who decides to stop chasing noise and start building their own masterpiece. When you shift your energy inward, when you stop looking at what everyone else is doing and start focusing on yourself, something incredible happens. Your life changes. Too often we get lost in distractions, comparisons, and unnecessary battles. We scroll through highlights of other people's lives, measuring ourselves against illusion. We spend energy proving ourselves to people who aren't even paying attention. But imagine what would happen if that same energy was directed toward growth, toward learning, toward becoming. Imagine if all the time spent worrying about opinions was invested in building something unshakable within you. There is a difference between movement and progress. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're growing. Just because you're running doesn't mean you're headed somewhere meaningful. Real progress begins when you stop proving yourself to the world and start proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. And this isn't about ignoring people or becoming selfish. It's about understanding that your best contribution to the world comes from a place of wholeness, not from a place of depletion. When you are focused on your own path, you don't have time for drama. When you are focused on your own growth, you don't have energy for jealousy. When you are focused on becoming the best version of yourself, you start attracting opportunities that match your power. Energy is a currency. You get to decide where to invest it. Are you spending it on things that drain you or things that build you? Are you giving it away to people who don't value it, or are you fueling your own vision, your own strength, your own future? You don't owe the world an explanation for choosing yourself. You owe yourself the life you were meant to live. So shift your energy. Focus on yourself and watch what happens when you finally stop chasing and start becoming. There comes a moment in life when you realize that the energy you give away so freely to opinions, to validation, to things that don't serve you is the very thing that's holding you back. Every time you look outward for approval, every time you compare your journey to someone else's, you drain the power that was meant to build you. The world is loud. It will tell you what success should look like, what happiness should feel like, and who you should be to fit in. But the truth is, the more you listen to that noise, the more disconnected you become from yourself. There is no fulfillment in chasing someone else's definition of success. There is no peace in constantly trying to measure up to a version of yourself that wasn't even yours to begin with. Real power begins the moment you turn inward, when you stop watching what others are doing and start focusing on what you are becoming. It's not about ignoring the world, but about choosing where your energy goes. Are you spending it proving yourself to people who don't even know your heart? Are you pouring it into things that drain you instead of fuel you? Imagine if all that energy was redirected into building something unshakable within you. Your skills, your mindset, your purpose. When you truly focus on yourself, everything shifts. You start to realize that peace isn't found in external achievements, but in knowing who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going. You stop seeking permission to be great because you already know you are. The more you invest in yourself, the more the world starts to reflect that investment back to you. So the question is, where is your energy going? Are you giving it away to distractions, or are you using it to become the person you were always meant to be? Because the moment you choose to focus inward, you stop chasing and start creating, and that changes everything. There's a difference between movement and progress, but most people don't realize it until they've spent years running in circles. It's easy to be busy, constantly doing, constantly chasing, constantly proving, but none of that guarantees growth. Just because you're moving doesn't mean you're moving forward. Think about how much time is spent trying to keeping up with expectations, with trends, with the idea of success that was handed to you instead of created by you. But if you paused for a moment and asked yourself, am I actually growing? The answer might surprise you. Because real growth doesn't come from mindless motion. It comes from intention. It comes from choosing to pour your energy into something that builds you rather than just keeps you occupied. It's easy to fall into the trap of doing things because that's what everyone else is doing. It's easy to get lost in a routine that looks productive but doesn't make you feel alive. The world rewards action, but you have to decide whether that action is leading you somewhere meaningful or just keeping you busy. The moment you shift your energy from proving yourself to others to proving yourself to yourself, everything changes. Because then every step you take has purpose. You stop chasing empty validation and start building real confidence. You stop measuring success by how fast you're going and start measuring it by how deeply you're growing. So ask yourself, are you just moving, or are you moving forward? Are you spending your energy on things that matter, or are you exhausting yourself for the sake of keeping up? The moment you shift your focus inward, you stop running in circles and start walking in the direction of who you were meant to become. Energy is your most valuable currency, and every day you make a choice on how to spend it. Some people spend it on things that build them, on growth, on learning, on becoming. Others spend it on distractions, on proving, on pleasing, on chasing things that don't truly matter. The question is, where is your energy going? Too often, energy is wasted on things that drain you rather than elevate you. It gets lost in overthinking, in worrying about what others think, in fighting battles that were never meant to be yours. You pour yourself into relationships that don't pour back. You invest your time in places that leave you empty, and then you wonder why you feel exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. But imagine if you redirected that energy. Imagine if, instead of spending it on things that take from you, you started investing it in things that build you. What if you gave yourself permission to say no to what depletes you and yes to what strengthens you? What if, instead of trying to be everything to everyone, you chose to be everything to yourself first? When you protect your energy, you protect your peace. You stop reacting to negativity and you start responding with wisdom. You stop over-explaining yourself to people who don't even listen, and you start focusing on the work that speaks for itself. The more you guard your energy, the more powerful it becomes. You don't have to give your energy to everything that demands it. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every opinion deserves your response. Not every situation needs your involvement. The moment you understand that, you take back control. You stop feeling drained and start feeling alive, because when you focus your energy on what truly matters, you become unstoppable. There's a trap that many people fall into without even realizing it: the endless chase for approval. It starts early, the desire to be seen, to be validated, to hear the words "you are enough" from someone else. But here's the truth most people never tell you. The moment you start looking outside yourself for validation, you give away your power. You can spend your whole life trying to meet expectations that were never yours to begin with. You can shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You can adjust, compromise, and mold yourself into what others find acceptable, and yet somehow it will never feel like enough, because the approval you seek isn't something the world can give you. It's something you have to give yourself. Growth isn't about being liked. It's about being real. It's about standing so firmly in who you are that even if the world doesn't understand you, you still understand yourself. It's about shifting your energy from chasing people who don't see your worth to building yourself so strong that they can't ignore it. The moment you stop looking for permission to be great, you become unstoppable. You stop seeking validation in numbers, in applause, in opinions, and you start finding it in the work you do, in the growth you create, in the peace that comes from knowing you are exactly where you need to be. And when you do that, something incredible happens. The right people, the right opportunities, the right energy starts finding you. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need another person trying to fit in. It needs someone bold enough to stand out. So don't waste another second waiting for someone else to tell you that you're worthy. Focus on yourself, shift your energy, and become someone who doesn't need approval, because you already know your worth. Choosing yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. Somewhere along the way, the world convinced us that prioritizing our own growth, our own peace, and our own dreams means we are neglecting others. But the truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give your best to the world if you are running on exhaustion. If your spirit is drained, if your energy is scattered in places that do not serve you, you are not born to just survive, to meet expectations, to keep everyone comfortable at the expense of your own happiness. You were meant to evolve, to expand, to step into the fullest version of yourself. And that can only happen when you start focusing inward, when you stop looking for answers outside of yourself and start realizing that everything you need is already within you. People may not always understand. When you begin to choose yourself, they may call it distance, they may call it change, but what they don't see is that growth often looks like separation. Elevation requires leaving behind what no longer fits. And the ones who truly love you, the ones who truly see you, will not be threatened by your growth, they will celebrate it. The moment you shift your energy from trying to be everything for everyone to becoming everything for yourself, life begins to open up in ways you never imagined. You attract better opportunities, deeper connections, and a sense of clarity that no amount of external approval could ever replace. You stop chasing and start creating. You stop surviving and start living. So give yourself permission to focus on your journey, to say yes to what fuels you and no to what drains you, to build, to rise, to evolve. Because when you choose yourself, you don't just change your life, you inspire others to do the same. And that is the most powerful thing you can ever do. At the end of the day, life is not about how much noise you make, how many people approve of you, or how well you fit into someone else's version of success. It is about how deeply you know yourself, how intentionally you live, and how powerfully you use your energy to shape the life you truly want. Everything changes the moment you stop looking outward for direction and start looking inward for answers. When you stop chasing distractions and start investing in what actually builds you, you begin to realize that the only validation you ever needed was your own. The world is constantly pulling your attention in 100 different directions, convincing you that you must keep up, stay relevant, seek approval. But what if you stopped? What if you stepped away from all of that noise and simply focused on becoming the strongest, most authentic version of yourself? This is not about isolation, this is about elevation. When you focus on yourself, you don't push others away. You rise so high that the right people rise with you. You attract what matches your energy. You create space for growth, for opportunity, for peace. And more than anything, you build a life that is aligned with you, not with expectations, not with comparisons, but with your deepest truth. So protect your energy. Be intentional with your time. Stop proving yourself to those who don't even know your worth, because the moment you choose to shift your focus, the moment you decide to invest in yourself, you become unstoppable. You stop being a follower of circumstances and start being the creator of your own reality. And when that happens, success is no longer something you chase, it's something you become.